My name is Leonard Griffin, and I'm a former member of the Five Diamonds, and which we changed the name and became the Five Gents. And we sang together for over 20 years.
So I guess starting a little bit about you and growing up, was there music in the house, and like is that kind of where you got your love for music?
I would assume so. I was raised in a place called Belvedere, which is right down a few miles down 41 here. And my mother and father always played hymns and whatnot, old big 78s. And I would go to the store and get a pack of needles to put in a photo play thing, recorder to play the music because after a couple times the needles would wear out. So anyhow, they would play spirituals a lot, and I began singing in, I would say, elementary and on into junior high school is when it really started.
Was there kind of like a epiphany in your mind where you're like, oh wow, I need to do this? Are there groups that you heard on the radio or anything that's like,
Yeah, I used to find myself imitating other singers and other groups. I was a fan of Sonny Till and the Orioles. I loved his voice. He had a smooth way that he sang, and Clyde McPhatter was one of the best. And all those guys had groups, and I remember a group called the Swallows and the Spiders. I mean, the Five Royals. I would listen to all those groups, and I used to imitate them. I get up in the mirror with a broom, with a hairbrush, and imitate that I was leading the song. Yeah, so that's where that really started. Yeah,
so you said you started singing more towards junior high, right?
yeah.
Is
When
that when you formed your group or?
we formed not only in junior high, yeah, but that's just about in junior high because some of the guys lived in Wilmington and I lived in Belvedere. So we had to sort of uh, figure out a way to meet so we could rehearse. And then we found that the best sound that we could get rather than rehearse in each other's homes was the YMCA because the rooms had an acoustic sound and you could really hear the harmony and the vibration of our voices at the Y. So that's where we would meet and rehearse.
And initially, when you formed, were you immediately five guys, or did you start off as more or
We
less?
had about seven. We had guys that would stand in for if somebody couldn't make it, and we had some. I don't wouldn't call them followers, but they leaned toward hanging around us, and they some of them could actually sing, but we boiled everything down to the five of us.
And I guess so. You're singing in the YMCA with those five guys and home in your guys' homes. What was the idea for the name, the Five Diamonds?
You know, that's a good question. I'm trying to think who came. I think Jimmy Smith and Coleman Griffin, both are deceased now, but I think Coleman Griffin is a guy, or William Loper. I can't think who came up with that name, the Five Diamonds, and but it was a collaboration of all of us. Thought that was a great name.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So when you started singing the Y, and at that time, do you remember what year that was, or around that those years you started out?
You're talking 1952 or even 51, 52, and 50. Yeah, because we was teenagers then. Because I can deduct that because in 1955 is when I went into service and everybody broke up and everybody went in some part of the service. So we had to rehearse way before then. So it had to be in the late 40s and early 50s.
And before you made that initial record, were you doing shows and at clubs?
Oh
Or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was our mainstay. We didn't make a whole lot of money, but we had fun doing. There was a band locally called Queen Bell Band, and wherever Queen Bell played, like at the Armory or a place called the Temple, we would volunteer and ask her could we sing with her, and that gave the band a little break besides being the whole future, and they gave them a break by backing us and letting us sing. So we start following Queen Bell and her Noblemen. That's what her band was called, Queen Bell and her Noblemen. And we would sing. One of the guys that went around with us named Fred Smith worked at the state hospital, was where seniors were, and Jimmy was in the National Guard or Air Force, and we would go at the air base on weekends and sing without music. We strictly a cappella, and we would go on weekends, and they give us $50 or $100 to sing. That was our thing. We went around everywhere and go over to New Jersey to. They had a couple clubs, Loretta's Hi-Hat, a club called Dreamland, the club called the the Cotton Club. And they were all in Longside, New Jersey. And that's where all the happenings were.
I guess thinking about all those shows you did, do you have any memorable stories from any of those nights that you sang in clubs?
Memorable nights? Uh, not really, because all of them was equal to the other. I would down Maryland, yes, one stands out. We would we went down to a place called Chestertown, Maryland, and I forget the name of the hub at that time. We booked ourselves as the Spaniels, Pookie Hudson and the Spaniels, and I led the song "Good Night, Sweetheart," and I forget the name of the other one, but I would do the lead on it, and I tried to imitate the lead singer, Pookie Hudson, and they had us billed as the Spaniels. Rather than the Five Diamonds or whatever other name we had, we went in, they had signs posted all over the place in the community. Pookie Hudson and the Spaniels is coming. So we got over that night, yeah. We went a lot of places, and there was a guy, another Smith named Fred Smith, who considered himself our manager. He would go out and find places for us, different clubs. We have went out on the weekend, not knowing where we go, finding clubs, and Fred or Reed, there was another guy named Reed, would go in and ask the proprietor, listen, I got a group outside. They're already dressed and everything. Could you give them a shot? And we did that for the longest time. And we go in there, let us come in, do a couple songs, and that's how everything started.
Were you doing mostly cover songs, or were you doing some of the stuff you guys had written?
No, we didn't do much of our own. We did covered songs. we imitated other groups, the Five Keys and the Clovers, and like I said, Pookie Hudson and the Spaniels. And we done other groups' music. I think we didn't do our songs until we was asked to record. Is when they came up with, "Do you have any songs of your own?"
So you get asked to record. How did that all happen? Because the record label you guys sang on was out of New York.
Well, our manager, now moving ahead, we became managed by a Wilmington DJ on WILM radio station, the first black DJ in Delaware, in Wilmington. And he became our manager, and what was that question again?
How did you guys make that record, or how did you guys get the
Oh,
record deal?
Mitch, his name was Mitch Thomas, and I lost track there. Apparently he had arranged a deal with the owner of Treat record label in New York. I got a group, or Mitch probably took a tape of us there, and they said, okay. We never knew if there was monies exchanged for, down payment for the records or whatever. We just loaded up in a car and went to New York to record.
How was that experience walking into the recording studio for the first time?
It was an experience. More so, the main experience was the four songs that were our original songs. We had others, but the four songs that were recorded, mainly the Ten Commandments of Love. There was actually 10 Commandments of Love. There were actually 10 Commandments. But in our singing of the 10 Commandments of Love, we sang that song for 10 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, ad-libbing and whatnot. But when we got to the studio, they told us, you got to do that song in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. We were there at Treat Record Label all day. We became hoarse because we kept repeating, singing over and over to get the song, especially the Ten Commandments and Our Pride and Pride, down to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. In the panic in doing that, we lost a lot of wording that we had in the songs because we were being pushed by the producer and the music people at Treat Record Label. And Loper wind up repeating himself over on some of the commandments. And we were young. We panicked. This is the first time, so that's why it was only, I think it's 6, really 6 or 7. But when we wrote that song, it was 10 Commandments of Love. And I wanted to apologize to people because people would say, "Hey, Leonard, only here's 6. Where's the other 4?" But I couldn't go into detail of what took place. Yeah. That was the shock. I just thought we'd go in, make a recording. Nobody told me or us that we had to sing for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So that was a blow to us.
And those the other 3 songs you did, you spent, I think, what'd you say, about the whole day there?
All day. We was in New York all day. In fact, Loper became hoarse, the lead singer on I Cried on the Ten Commandments. Mitch's brother-in-law, our manager's brother-in-law was there. He used to sing. His name was Norman. Norman used to sing with the Ravens. And it's Norman's voice that starts the Ten Commandments of Love. A lot of people don't know that. That wasn't Loper. When he started out, I'm writing Loper feels comes right in. You can't even hear the change because he was hoarse. Loper had gotten hoarse. That's why if you hear the song and really listen to it, his voice is real husky because we had done this over and over and over.
And you spent probably most of the time working on that song, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. The
the main object was because that was the main, so that was the headliner, Ten Commandments of Love, and that was a song that I sort of was attracted to because and gave it that name because I used to watch the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston every Easter. Remember how Easter time, the Ten Commandments would come on and he'd part the water and all that. And the idea came, why could not there be a Ten Commandments of love? And that's where the idea gelled.
and when that record first came out, did you was it played on the radio at all?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. We had two black DJs at that time when that record came out. And there was a black DJ on on WAMS, WAMS, and Mitch Thomas on WILM. And he had a group called Mellow Hearts. And what was that question again?
Oh, was it played on the radio?
Was it? Yeah. Both of those, because if you read what Val Shevely had written when he found out that Five Gentlemen in Delaware, our songs wasn't played on white radio stations. They were played in the black neighborhood, black dances, rooms and things of that nature. So Mitch was pushing the record on WILM. And we all belonged to, was a sort of a social club at the Y called Rockets or High Y, Try High Y. And we were all members. And I came up with an idea because Frenchie and the Sinceres recorded a song. And it was played on WAMS, which was WAMS. And I came up with an idea. Why should the Y and Try High Y pay us to perform at different dances that they held at the Y? So I taught both groups and the owners or the managers, let's both groups join the High Y, Try High Y. That way we're doing it free because we're members of the High Y, Try High Y club. We had these big sweaters on with names and all that. So when we sang at the Y at different functions that we gone, we sang for free because we were members of that club.
And then you mentioned the Sinceres.
Mm-hmm.
Were you when you first knew about them? Did you see them as rivals in that area? Because
In the beginning, yeah, we were rivals, and they were one in the town, and then there was other groups on the west side of Wilmington. And I can't even think of their names now, but oh yeah, we were strictly rivals, and the rivals was between the Five Diamonds and the Sinceres. Yeah, we were rivals. Yeah.
did you guys ever do singing battles and battle the group?
No, actually, there was one time there we got into fisticuffs because one group thought they were better than the other, but that's subsided, and we became the best of friends, and we both would wind up singing at the same venues.
That's pretty cool. And after the record comes out and you hear it played, Are you you joined the army? You said.
Yeah, I was a paratrooper. I joined the Army Airborne, 11th Airborne Division.
I guess after making the record and you're having always somewhat success with your group, what was the reason you joined or you drafted?
When I left to go in the service, it was for two reasons. Two reasons why I left was because my friends that was graduating in 56 were all gone in the service. That was everybody's idea when we got out of school, going to service. And I told them they wasn't leaving me, I was going to. Plus, there was a difference. There was some things going on with our manager, Mitch Thomas. And the way to get out of that group and to break that contract, because he had hands on us, was me to leave and go into service. That's one of the ways we broke the Five Diamond contract and with our manager.
And you do your service, and when you guys get back, did you guys reform the group?
We reformed and we became the Five Gents, Gents. And that group consisted of members from the Mellow Hearts. Remember I said there was another group called the Mellow Hearts? Well, they're up there in that picture. Two of them on that picture were Mellow Hearts. The bass and the guitar player, Johnson, Edward Johnson, is the guitar player. He was one of the lead singers. And the guy all the way to the left on this over here, Sherman Money, was our bass singer. And he was the bassist on Zing. I remember forget. Boom, 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 boom. Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Blue Moon. That's what it was. Yeah, Sherman could do Blue Moon. He was the bass. Yeah.
Did you make any records with that group or
No,
no?
no, just the Five Diamonds.
And
But we sang everywhere, all down Atlantic City, at the Coliseum. We wasn't making no whole bunch of money, but that's what we enjoyed doing. We were the house group at the Coliseum in Atlantic City for back 2 summers straight in a row. We would open up for people like D. Clark, James Brown, Muddy Waters, all the old names people. We were the opening act for them.
how was your time with the Five Gents compared to the Diamonds, like the show wise? About the same.
About the same. About the same. The one thing more so in incorporating those two guys from the Mellow Hearts, Edwin Johnson could play the guitar, so that gave us a background. And we had a gentleman that followed us around named Mark. And I don't know what Mark's last name was. He was a drummer. So with the involvement of the guitars and the drummer, we had a beat. Except, when we sang with Queen Belle's band, that was our music.
And with that group, the Five Gents, did you sing any Five Diamonds tunes, or did you do mostly
Yeah.
covers?
No, we covered a lot of songs, but we did the Diamond songs. Yeah. hmm
And I guess you're singing with the Five Gents. And how long were you with that group for?
When did Five Gents break up? I guess we sang for about 20 years. Yeah, the Gents sang. We sang together. We were old until the guys start passing away, and that's what happened. we incorporated, like the guy in the middle up there and the guy doing the split, Bruce Gaston. He became a member of us, the Five Gents, and he became our lead singer because he could do. Bruce had a good voice on him. That's Jimmy Smith next to him, the tall guy, our first tenor, and Jimmy was just like what's the guy that sang with the Temptations?
David Ruffin.
No, Kendricks.
Oh yeah, Eddie Kendrick.
And Eddie Kendricks. Jimmy had a high tenor voice like that. His voice was natural high tenor, first tenor.
Which one is you in the photo?
I'm on the one in the whites. That's me all the way on the left.
Oh,
We're at the Coliseum in Atlantic City, and I'm singing "There Goes My Baby" by the Drifters, and the ones with the coats on, that's me second from the left.
so I'm guessing you had a lot of fun with those guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, that was our thing. We lived to sing. We would strike up a tune just going down the street. You know, yeah. Oh yeah. For some reason, we had singing in our blood, and that was the thing back then. You had all these groups coming out, and so I guess we said, why not? If we can't beat them, let's join them. So we incorporated our own group. From Wilmington didn't have too many groups. Like I said, there was one on the west side of Wilmington, the Sinceres. Then the young breeds start coming up. Teddy and the Continentals. They were way after us. I think we had stopped singing. No, we were just about on the verge of breaking up when Teddy and the Continentals came about.
Perfect. Is there anything I missed that you want to talk about your groups or?
The singing with the Five Diamonds and the Five Gents was, I would say, part of my life. That's my legacy. As it was singing with them because we got so much enjoyment. We didn't make no whole bunch of money, and we weren't in it actually to make money. We enjoyed what we did, and that was the main thing. And we did it from our hearts, and we tried to showcase our talent amongst our peers and other people and in the community. And we were always asked for in school dances, and they have homecoming dances and things of that nature. They asked us, could we perform? They'd give us a couple $100, so it was just to show us off. That was our thing.
Perfect. And I guess I forgot to ask, but who were the five members of the Five Diamonds? And what was their voice part?
I was a baritone. Jimmy Smith was our first tenor. Coleman Griffin was our second tenor and lead singer. William Loper, second tenor, lead singer, and sometimes baritone. And Chick Lloyd was our bass. That was the five of us back then.
Perfect.
Then they start passing away, and we incorporated. That's another reason why the groups intermingled, because some of the guys started passing away. So we found other replacements.
Then after all your groups and stuff, you said you started singing more in the church?
Yeah, I became a member of my church, Manor Christian Fellowship, and I sang on the men's choir and on the praise team and things of that nature. I'm not a lead singer. I'm a backgroundist. I treasure myself in harmony. I can do harmony. I can detect my point, where I'm supposed to be, what my note is, just like that. So I didn't have that voice vocally to lead songs. Sometimes there were songs that I did lead, I would imitate, the singers at that time. But I didn't look at myself as a lead singer. I didn't want to lead, to be honest with you. I let the other guys do the lead. I just found my part in baritone or second tenor to fill in the gap.
Um, what was your reaction when those two songs that you were saying with the Five Diamonds was released in the 70s? Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know. And how did I find out? I got a letter from the guy you named, Val.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if you get that paperwork over there, yeah, right there. There you go. I received that letter, and they said they were looking for us. And Val stated that he thought that we lived in New York. He had no idea they had been looking for the Five Diamonds. I still have the original 45s locked up. The original 45s that we recorded, I have them.
Wow. And I guess did you receive those records after you recorded them, or did you have to buy them
Val
yourselves?
sent them to me.
Okay.
He said, I got it. He said
Great.
it. I think it's worth about $750 or something like that
Yeah.
back now. Yeah, yeah. But we didn't had copies made. I took it to church, and my guy that ran the recording sessions and this and that, he made me a bunch of them. I got the diamonds all over the place.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any final things you want to say about the Five Diamonds that you want people to remember? Or
That it was one of the best groups that were come out of Wilmington. We didn't get all the due that we should have gotten because of circumstances and the way management was at the time. Like I said, we didn't make no whole bunch of money, but we had a lot of fun. We knew mostly all the DJs in Philadelphia. Kay Williams, he had a nightclub called the Hi Hat Club, the Tippin' Inn over in New Jersey, either on the White Horse Pike or Black Horse Pike. And Mitch, our manager, who was the DJ, would take us over there. Carl Helm on WDAS, all those Philly stations. Georgie Woods, we was on all his shows.
perfect.
Oh yeah.
Well, I thank you for sitting down with me and talking.
Oh well, thank you. I thank you for taking the time and wanting to do this. It's something that I'm very proud that we did, and I hope that it's very useful for you.
Thank you.